Now let's continue with the same example. So what we have done so far is we have created an array list in which you have added three objects of employee, one with name Navin, Sunil, and Rashmi. Now once I sort this element, the output I need here is Rashmi, Navin, and Sunil. Now for that, what we can do is we can simply say, okay, so we can simply say it as sort and its EMP rights, right? But the problem here is EMP is not a inbuilt class; it's a user-defined class. So in order to sort this collection, we need to say implements. We need to say implements comparable. So comparable is like a permission granting interface which allows your class to to allow it's allow actually your collection to sort the objects. Now since we implement a comparable interface here, we need to implement a method which belongs to comparable interface. So if you see the method in comparable interface, it is, so let's define a method, and the method we have to define here, it is public int, and the method name is compare2. Now this compare2 method only takes one parameter, which is, let's say, emp obj, and in this, uh-oh, is a problem there? Yeah. So we'll say now this will return. So I hope you are familiar with the condition we have used earlier. So we'll compare this string. Let's start with, instead of going for comparison of string, we'll do one thing. We'll reverse this thing. We'll say 5, we'll say 4, we'll say 1 and 3. So the output I'm expecting here is 135. Okay, so instead of first sorting a string, let's sort the number. So it will be easy for you to understand. Now, when you say you want to compare to, then compare to with what? First, uh, every object will be compared with another object. So the object which is calling this method compared to and the object which is compared will be used here. Now, in order to specify that some object is calling this, we'll say this. We need to compare this by EID. If EID is less than obj.eid, if this is the scenario, will return 1. Otherwise, if this dot I is greater than obj dot I, in this scenario, it's not I, it's EID, and it's obj dot EID. In this scenario, will return a -1 and colon will return a 0. Clear? So you can see now, so error is gone. So we don't have any error here. And if I run this, if I say run as application, you can see the output is, okay, we are getting a reverse order. I have mentioned a wrong thing here. So let's say it is, in this scenario, we have to say -1 and +1 because we want in ascending order. The logic I have written here is for the descending order. If I say run as application, the output is 1, 3, and 5, right? So it is 1 Sunil, 3 Rashmi, and 5 Navin. Simple. So this is how we need to use a comparable interface. And in comparable interface, what we have is you have a method called as compare2, in which you need to pass a object. So the object which is calling this compare2 will be compared with the object which is called. Now, what if instead of using EID to compare, what if I want to compare with this string? So that will see how to compare with a string, that we'll see in the next part.